Hey guys, thanks again for joining us for another week of Okay Now John. We're in the middle of our series that I'm calling What Love Looks Like, in which we look at the four main Greek words for love. Last week we talked about agape. If you guys remember, it was selfless love or divine love, God's love. And we talked about how that love is the most important because it is the foundation of everything that we're going to be learning about. This week we're going to be talking about the word Phileo. The Greek word translated Phileo is actually translated as brotherly love or friendship love. So with that being said, let's go ahead and turn to our series verse in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 7. It says, "Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres." And so when we're talking about love, as we remembered last week, the Greek word in this verse is agape, but I want to look at friendship love, phileo, in light of what agape is, which is divine selfless love. So let's go ahead and see what Jesus thought about what friendship ought to look like. So in John 15, verses 13 through 14, this is what Jesus says. "Greater love has no one than this, to lay one's life down for his friends. You are my friends if you do as I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything I have learned from my Father, I have made known to you." And so we see here Jesus saying, I no longer call you servants. He's talking to his disciples. I no longer call you servants, but friends. And he's saying that he calls them friends. And in Scripture, we have this thing where we call Jesus the friend of sinners. And how amazing is it to think about our relationship with God before we were saved, and to think of our relationship with God now, to think that we were once enemies of God, to now becoming not just, going from being enemies of God to now being called his friends. Take a look at Colossians chapter 1 verses 21 through 22. "Once you were alienated from God and were enemies in your minds because of your evil behavior, but now he has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through death to present you holy in his sight, without blemish and free from accusation. If you continue in your faith, established and firm, and do not move from the hope held out in the gospel. This is the gospel that you have heard and has been proclaimed to every creature under heaven, and of which I, Paul, have become a servant." And so Paul here is demonstrating that once we were alienated from God, but now because of Christ we have been reconciled. And now he doesn't call us servants. He doesn't call us enemies. He doesn't look at us as enemies, but he looks at us as friends. And in Scripture we see that Jesus was the friend of sinners. He witnessed to a Pharisee. He spoke with an adulterous, immoral woman. He ate with tax collectors, and he forgave the man who denied him 3 times. And so we look at Jesus and how he viewed friendship, and he had a very high view of friendship. But what's the point of friendship? What good does friendship do? Why is friendship important? And I want to turn to the Old Testament in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. And it says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another." And so this idea of friends shaping each other, to iron each other, as iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another friend. So the point of friendship, as Jesus demonstrates by talking to these sinners and transforming their lives, Christ built us up, so we ought to build each other up. That's the point of friendship. And so I just want to encourage you guys today to always look at friendship, not in just this casual way, but to look at it in view of God's love. We are reconciled to God through Jesus Christ, and we are no longer called enemies but friends. And what do friends do? They build each other up, they sharpen each other, they help study they study the Scriptures together, they go hang out, they edify each other, they love each other, they serve each other. And that's the point of being a friend with someone, to build them up as Christ built us up. And so I hope you guys got something out of this. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week.